I watch the markets fall, red pouring through the screen as if it could seep into my skin. All coins, many down dramatically, some even far beyond what most expected, are bleeding, and yet, an unexpected stillness sits in my chest. I am not buying. Not yet. I am waiting, holding my breath for a signal buried under layers of chart patterns and fragile hope. It is not bearishness that halts me. It is something deeper, a lesson carved from the scars of past cycles. Something must happen before I move, before risk transforms from reckless to calculated. Maybe you can guess what it is. But then, maybe you cannot. Stay with me, let me walk you through this storm. If this resonates with you, consider subscribing to Crypto 101 Central. Click the bell. Do not leave your financial future to chance. Let these signals find you, not the other way around. There is a collective anxiety, a restlessness among us. Bitcoin keeps sliding. For a moment, it seems stable, a flicker of defiance, some faint scaffolding of hope. We zoom and scroll, chart lines like the rhythm of a broken heartbeat, bar after bar on the 4-hour time frame. The pattern is unmistakable. A bear flag, cold wind flapping in the sails. Support is not a firm floor, but quicksand, each hopeful bounce sinks deeper. I see this breakdown, the slow surrender from the low 70,000 range down into the mid-60s, and I am not surprised. Experience teaches you to look at what is coming, not what you wish would arrive. If there is more downside, and I believe probability leans that way, then we have not yet found the bottom. Not the real kind, the one thick with silence and opportunity, heavy with the absence of hope. History says the next step down is not disaster, but incubation, the darkness before dawn. I want you to see that with me, to feel both dread and anticipation curling up together inside your chest. What feels like a crash, the story everyone fears, is, according to the indicators I follow, often the final move before a reversal. The evidence is stitched through every bull to bear cycle I have known. Let that settle for a moment. Each chart, every hint in the data, echoes the same message. Not yet, but soon. And if this does happen, if the market falls that last painful step, it is not a reason for despair. It is a call to readiness, a chance for those who listen closely and steel themselves against panic. That moment can shape long-term opportunity, not because it is safe, but because it is uncertain. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these altcoins, these are seeds waiting for the rain. The goal is to be ready when conditions change. Let me show you what guides my patience. The first indicator, the Gaussian channel, is less a forecast and more a pulse. Green for optimism above the line, red for distress when prices fall below. On the chart, red signals appear like warning lights. After sustained weakness, they often precede deeper volatility. We are at the edge of that zone again. This period can linger, can pull us sideways longer than expected, but historically the lowest price points tend to emerge from the center of this phase, not the edges. Then comes buyer exhaustion. It reflects a simple question. Who is in control? When buyers dominate, momentum holds. When sellers take over, pressure builds. Right now, momentum appears weaker. In past cycles, these conditions have often coincided with areas where long-term opportunities begin to form. Each downturn shifts control, but when exhaustion reaches its peak, that is where attention typically returns. Sometimes, I look at the chart and ask myself, why not act now? And the answer is simple. Because conditions may not be fully formed yet. Another signal comes from broader market positioning metrics, which attempt to measure whether the average participant is in profit or loss. When the market moves into deep loss territory, sentiment often shifts toward capitulation. These moments are emotionally difficult, but historically, they have also marked important turning points. Yet, no single metric gives certainty. The moving average structure tells another story. As long as price struggles below key averages, pressure remains. A shift above, with confirmation, is usually what signals a change in momentum. Until then, caution tends to dominate. The pi cycle indicator remains another reference point. When key averages converge, it has historically aligned with strong moves in the market. We may be approaching such a moment again. These windows tend to be brief and often only clear in hindsight. What grounds this view most is that cycles are shaped not just by time, but by price and sentiment. Sometimes markets take longer. Other times, sharper corrections accelerate the process. A broad zone of historical interest sits roughly in the lower ranges below current price levels. It is not about precision, it is about awareness and preparation. Looking at long-term holders, data from on-chain analytics suggests that more experienced participants tend to accumulate during these periods. This has been a recurring pattern across cycles. When uncertainty rises, conviction-based accumulation often follows. Miners offer another perspective. When profitability tightens, selling pressure can increase. Paradoxically, these moments have often aligned with later stage corrections, where stronger hands begin to absorb supply. There is also a subtle shift among altcoins. While many have struggled, some are beginning to stabilize relative to Bitcoin. This does not signal a full recovery, but it can be an early sign that conditions are evolving. In previous cycles, these phases have preceded broader recoveries, but only after Bitcoin establishes direction. So where does that leave me? The focus remains cautious. Bitcoin tends to lead recoveries, and historically it has been the first to regain strength after downturns. Altcoins often follow later. Watching strength rather than reacting to weakness becomes key in moments like these. Let me pause for a breath. If any part of you recognizes your own uncertainty in these words, if this journey into the heart of the cycle has meant something, I ask you to like this video. It is not just encouragement, it helps others find these ideas too. And if you feel like sharing your perspective, drop it below. Different views sharpen understanding. The distance to a potential turning point feels closer, but not fully defined. Signals are aligning, tension is building, but timing remains uncertain. If a final move lower comes, it may represent one of the more significant opportunities in the cycle, not because it is comfortable, but because it forces clarity. Until then, patience remains essential. Take care of yourselves. The crypto market moves fast, often without warning, but here you do not have to navigate it alone. If you are still here, I appreciate it. There are always more perspectives to explore. Stay connected, stay aware, and we move forward step by step.